Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dismantle a massive illusion. The idea that a high salary automatically equals true financial security. You know, we're culturally conditioned from day one to chase the absolute biggest paycheck possible. But what if I told you that chasing a fixed monthly salary might actually be the exact thing keeping you trapped? It's true. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore how building a rock-solid financial fortress doesn't actually require a six-figure corporate job. Instead, it requires an army of what we're going to call invisible soldiers.
Let's dive right in by looking at two very different lives in the exact same city. First, meet Rafiq. He's pulling in a handsome 80,000 taka a month at a highly reputed company. From the outside, his life looks like a massive success, right? But get this. Last month, his company delayed his salary by just one single month. Suddenly, his life turned into a total nightmare. Rent was due, school fees were pending, the car EMI was unpaid. Rafiq literally went from dining at fancy restaurants to cutting his child's milk from the grocery list. Now contrast that with Kareem. He earns only 25,000 taka a month. No big flat, no flashy lifestyle whatsoever. But last week, Kareem actually lost his job entirely. His reaction? He calmly thanked his boss and walked out. He went home, told his wife, and she didn't panic either. Why? Because they had their invisible soldiers working for them in the background. While Rafiq earned 3 times more and was on the brink of bankruptcy, Kareem lost his primary income and remained completely 100% secure.
This actually brings up a brilliant, albeit blunt, concept from author Nassim Taleb. He says, the 3 most harmful addictions are heroin, carbohydrates, and a fixed monthly salary. It all really comes down to Parkinson's law, which basically dictates that your expenses will always expand to catch up with your income. Earn 80,000, you're going to spend 80,000. If you just work for money like Rafiq, you are highly vulnerable. The solution is to flip the script and make your money work for you. You need to build invisible soldiers, assets that fight inflation, economic recessions, and unemployment on your behalf. They stand guard at night, on holidays, and yes, even when you lose your job.
So, in this explainer, we're going to outline the exact blueprint for creating this invisible army. We'll be looking at 3 specific asset classes. First, digital gold. Second, the rental economy. And third, vending machines.
All right, let's jump straight into Asset 1, digital gold. To really get why this matters, we kind of have to expose the fractional reserve banking system. Let's say you deposit 5 lakh taka into your bank. Great. Well, someone else comes along and takes a 5 lakh loan from that bank to buy a car. The car company takes that exact same 5 lakh and deposits it right back into the banking system. Then someone else takes a loan from that. If you just follow 3 of these cycles, the bank has effectively created 15 lakh taka in the economy from your original 5 lakh deposit. It's essentially creating debt out of thin air. And if that 15 lakh isn't returned, the whole bank collapses. This is exactly what happened during the 2008 financial crisis. Major banks failed overnight. 1 million people became homeless, and millions more lost their entire life savings simply because they couldn't withdraw their own money. And today, the disparity is just mind-blowing. To put it into perspective, the total real GDP of every single country in the world combined is roughly $100 trillion. Yet the total global debt is hovering around $300 trillion. So where on earth did that extra $200 trillion come from? It's phantom money. It's literally just numbers on a screen created by the system we just looked at. The traditional fiat system basically places a massive burden of debt on us from the very moment we're born. So this brings us to the antidote for that system, Bitcoin. And the whole thing really hinges on one absolute number, 21 million. That is the hard cap on the number of Bitcoins that will ever exist. No government, no bank, and no coalition of humanity can ever print more. It is entirely fixed. And this actually makes it far scarcer than physical gold, which is continually mined out of the earth at a rate of roughly 3,000 to 3,500 metric tons every single year. Bitcoin by design cannot be inflated.
But you know what the absolute most fascinating part of Bitcoin is? It isn't just its scarcity. It's the mystery of its creator, the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto. Right now, Nakamoto's wallet holds 1.1 million Bitcoin. That is worth a staggering $116 billion at current market rates. That technically makes this completely unknown entity one of the top 10 richest people on the entire planet. Yet, they've never shown their face. And here's the kicker. Not a single fraction of that $116 billion has ever been touched. This untouched wealth strongly emphasizes the core ideological goal behind Bitcoin, creating a decentralized currency completely free from banking greed rather than just being some tool for personal enrichment.
Around the world, adoption of this idea is surging. I mean, entire cities in Switzerland are built around it, and countries like El Salvador even use it as an official currency. Interestingly enough, Bangladesh actually ranks 13th globally in crypto adoption. However, and this is absolutely crucial to note from our sources, cryptocurrency transactions remain entirely illegal and punishable in Bangladesh. Furthermore, even in places where it is perfectly legal, it must be treated as a highly volatile, high-risk asset, very much like the stock market. You should really only ever engage with funds that you are fully prepared to lose.
Moving right along, let's look at Asset 2, the rental economy. Shifting gears from the digital world to the physical one, renting out assets has evolved way beyond just cars and apartments. Today, people are renting out farm machinery, cameras, guitars, and bikes, often just using local Facebook groups. But get this, perhaps the absolute wildest, most surprising example is the rental of graves in Dhaka. Inspired by above-ground tombs in the US, families in Dhaka can now rent and reserve a grave for 15 to 25 years. The cost? Try anywhere from 1 to 1.5 crore taka. Seriously, it just goes to show that with a little bit of creativity, almost any physical space or item can become a highly lucrative rental asset.
The true beauty of the rental economy is what we call the double profit strategy. One of our sources shares this great personal anecdote about a family that owned an old rice threshing machine. Instead of just letting it sit there and rust after they stopped farming, they rented it out to a local guy every single season. The renter took it, used it, brought it back, and paid them a fee, all while covering the maintenance himself. Over the years, the family made back several times the original purchase price of the machine in purely passive income. And then, when they were finally done with the whole thing, they sold the machine for a final profit. They got paid twice, once through continuous rent, and a second time through the final sale, a total win-win.
This entire approach is perfectly summed up by billionaire real estate investor Sam Zell. His philosophy was beautifully simple. He'd buy bankrupt or distressed properties for cheap, fix them up, and turn them into cash-flowing rentals. He advised that you have to stop being just a guardian of your assets, merely watching them sit there gathering dust, and start truly being an owner by putting them to work to generate continuous cash flow for you.
And that brings us to Asset 3, Vending Machines.
We're talking about the ultimate, tireless, invisible soldiers here. This is an automated cash flow system that requires very low effort after the initial setup. In Japan, they are quite literally everywhere. There is actually one vending machine for every 23 people. In the United States, there are over 7 million active machines, generating more than $8 billion every single year. And the best part? The vast majority of these machines are not owned by massive, faceless corporate conglomerates. Nope, they are owned by regular, everyday people who just wanted a steady, passive income stream. Let's actually break down the math for a developing market like Bangladesh, where these machines are just starting to pop up in large office lobbies and private hospitals. It's highly accessible. A standard machine runs between 30,000 to 50,000 taka. The profit margins on snacks and drinks, usually a solid 30 to 50%. If your machine sells just 500 taka worth of product a day, you're clearing about 15,000 taka a month. At that rate, you pay off the entire cost of the machine in just 3 to 4 months. And after that, nearly every single taka is pure passive income. And hey, you absolutely don't have to limit your imagination to just potato chips and bottled water. Globally, vending machines sell incredibly diverse items. In Paris train stations, you can buy actual paperback books. In Dubai, there are machines that dispense literal gold bars. In China, believe it or not, you can buy live crabs. And in many places, 24/7 medicine dispensers are set up right outside of hospitals. The possibilities for automated retail are literally endless. This actually aligns perfectly with the investment philosophy of one of the greatest wealth builders of all time. Warren Buffett summarized it like this: the best business is one that requires little capital but generates consistent cash flow. Vending machines hit the nail right on the head here. You buy it once, you place it once, and then you just swing by to restock it while the machine handles all the transactions for you day and night.
Of course, it's not pure magic, right? To ensure your invisible soldier actually wins the battle, you need to follow a strict checklist. First, location. It has to be high traffic. Second, product research. You need to stock what the specific people in that exact area actually want to buy. And third, regular maintenance. A broken machine earns exactly zero income. You've got to keep it clean, stocked, and humming along perfectly.
All right, let's wrap this up with our final section, Choose Your Financial Future.
We've covered a ton of ground today, looking at 3 completely different paths to achieve the exact same destination, ultimate financial freedom. Let's do a quick recap. We have digital gold, like Bitcoin,
which offers a high-risk, high-return, decentralized alternative to the traditional fiat banking system. We've got the rental business, where you can take everyday physical assets you already own, put in a little effort, and enjoy passive income over and over again. And finally, vending machines. Low-capital, automated businesses where you buy the asset once and let it literally count the cash for you day and night.
So I want to leave you with a final, provocative question to chew on. Think back to the very beginning of this explainer. Who will you choose to be? Will you be like Rafiq, a slave to the clock, heavily reliant on a fixed monthly salary, and literally one missed paycheck away from total ruin? Or will you be like Kareem, the master of invisible soldiers, someone who could lose their job tomorrow and still sleep peacefully because their assets are working for them around the clock? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, start building your financial fortress today.